And we're back here on the Fowler Show with a friend of the show and a friend of mine, Aisha Moodie-Mills, the president of the Victory Fund.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
So it's a busy weekend for you.
Very much so. We have about 5 events happening here alone, in addition to all the other festivities that are going on.
Awesome. So you guys have some candidates here. Who are your, you have some big races coming up for you guys. What are the top races for you?
We do. So we have Kate Brown, who is going to be elected governor of Oregon. This is going to be the first out person ever elected governor here in the United States. We also are really excited about, we have several candidates that we call our spotlight candidates that are running in what we call low equality states. So we're trying to win big in the places in this country that are red right now, that are bad for LGBT people. Right. So Carlos Guillermo Smith is running in Florida for state legislature.
Awesome.
We actually have 4 people running in Florida. Beth Tora is another one. We could quadruple the number of LGBT people that we have serving in the state ledge this cycle alone.
That's crazy though, Aisha, for just a minute. So 4 people will quadruple the number of LGBT folks
right now,
in the capital.
So bad.
In Tallahassee.
In the entire, it's so bad in the entire state of Florida. We got one guy right now, David Richardson, who's holding it down by himself. We're also going to pick up some congressional seats, which is exciting. So right now we're going to pick up, we've got at least 4 good congressional races. The one that is my favorite is Angie Craig, who is running out of St. Paul, Minnesota. She is coming to Congress. She's already cleared her primary field, and she's the one to beat. So that's going to be a great pickup for the community. And then we have some other congressional candidates. Matt Hines is running in Arizona, and then one out in Washington State with Brady Walkinshaw. So it's a fun time for us. A very, very fun time.
Awesome. And so you guys get, so obviously you guys are an organization that is focused on electing LGBTQ folks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, specifically, that's what we do. We get LGBT people elected because we know that representation matters. When we are at the table, we are not on the menu.
I was just going to say that.
So what we know, right, is that when we have LGBT people serving, and even just one, right? In Florida, we only got one guy, but they stop nasty anti-LGBT legislation and they drive equality forward for us all.
So tell me, so beyond electing like LGBTQ folks, right? Like, how do we start to change this conversation, Aisha? I think the country, after Pulse nightclub, which was a horrific massacre, there seems to be a sense of a shift of the conversation. I mean, even Donald Trump himself said the acronym, which is even the Q, which is sort of unknown for Republicans to do.
Well,
they
Donald
usually
Trump says a lot of things, so that's neither here.
Well, I mean, you got to give. I mean, I give him credit where credit is due. I mean, you've never seen a nominee for the Republican Party that said the acronym and meant it. And I mean, I don't know if he meant it, but he said it. Or even the Q. So I mean, it seems as though we're in a new space now. How does the LGBT community take advantage of that space? I think that that's a bad example because there's nothing to take advantage of for LGBT people within the Trump-isms of the land, right? So the Republican convention just put forth the worst, most anti-gay I agree. Now the platform is awful
for LGBT people, and Donald Trump doubled down on that bigotry when he picked Mike Pence to be his running mate. Let's not forget who Mike Pence is. He is horrible for LGBT people.
I concur.
In Indiana, he's the one that passed and drove the anti-horrible religious refusal bill, the anti-LGBT religious refusal bill. Didn't give a damn whether businesses were going to leave his state or not. He doubled down on his own bigotry in that state because he wanted to discriminate against our community.
No,
so
I completely concur.
I concur.
But I do think we're at a moment. I mean, I think we can own that we're at a moment.
We're at a moment here at the Democratic Convention.
Oh, no,
sure.
Obviously. I mean, I think we're at a moment in time where, there seems to be, especially after Pulse nightclub, where the American people, I don't know if they're open to, throwing out the baby with the bathwater, but they're open to some sort of shift. And what should that be? Beyond marriage equality, which we already got.
Right. So what we know after Pulse is that, and I just talked about this earlier with our candidates, LGBT candidates are the most progressive candidates in America. When we get into office, we're not only largely Democrats, but we're also the most progressive Democrats. That means that we don't just elect LGBT people to do LGBT things at Victory Fund. We're electing LGBT people who are going to be driving gun rights reform around gun rights. We're electing people who are going to be reforming immigration rights. We're electing people who care about economic equality. We're electing people who care about women's rights. And they are driving these. They're champions of change. So I think if anything, post Pulse nightclub and that tragedy, it really just brings out the intersectionality of our community. I mean, these were also Latino LGBT people that we're talking about. We just partnered with Latino Victory Project to endorse Brady Walkinshaw, who's a Cuban-American guy running for Congress. But we've got several LGBT Latinos running for office, and just the intersection of issues, the intersection of communities is the thing that is most profound. At the end of the day, our elected officials are driving progressive outcomes, and that's the thing that matters. And the LGBT community is now understanding that we can't just be be for us, by us, and just do gay things when we get elected. We're actually working on other issues like gun control.
I love it. And I think you're absolutely right. I think, it's one of those situations where all these respective, the constituency groups have got to work together formulaically to create real and lasting change. Because you can't be for marriage equality and don't believe that Black Lives Matter. I mean, those two things are anatomically opposed.
Right, exactly. Well, especially when Black Lives Matter is being run by queer women, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, the intersectionality is just naturally built in for sure. And that's why we are also looking to, we want our entire bench of elected officials to reflect the diversity of America. So we are being very intentional about targeting, recruiting, training people of color and transgender people to run for office. I think that we have a future candidate in Sarah McBride, who we're going to hear from on Thursday here at convention. Who will be the first transgender candidate, or first transgender person to speak here at convention. But she has political aspirations down the line, and we want to be there with her as well as she thinks about what she's going to do.
And that's the resource that you guys sort of serve. I mean, you guys serve as this place for both current candidates, future candidates, and past candidates to go to really be a resource to them on what to do and how to sort of get the resources they need to run and win.
We are developing the next generation of LGBT leaders. We are building a pipeline for people who serve in the public sector. That's what we do.
I love it. Well, Aisha, that's all the time we have on today, but we appreciate you being here.